Le vertige
Hola a todos. Buenas noches. Bienvenidos a Seville. Welcome to Seville. Good night or good evening. I hope everyone's doing well. I certainly am. I started my lazy Sunday with a couple of fails. I tried to do a couple of things and it just didn't work out. The museum just didn't exist, and another one is closed. So that was that. So instead, I decided I'd get myself a little bit different type of culture and really challenge myself, get me out of my shell, and face my number one fear about going in and feeling uncomfortable in a busy restaurant by myself. And sure enough, that's exactly what I did. And I challenged myself exactly twice. First off, I wanted to really try the churros. I saw them online. It's ridiculous. And I didn't even believe it. Like, I've even seen it on video. But even still, it seemed just too ridiculous. So the way they eat churros over here is they make them fresh and they give you a whole cup of chocolate to just dip it in. And it's crazy. And sure enough, they do it here. I've seen it a couple of places. It's fantastic. I had to try it. So I had to find a place. And there's a couple of like fast food places equivalent, but they obviously are not going to be like the fresh, homemade style that you want to try. So I went, I looked up, best churros, looked for a highly rated one that was open on a Sunday, and I found myself in a cafeteria on the east side of town, and sure enough, I found them, and I sat down and I ate them, and yeah, it's crazy. What I keep thinking about when it comes to the churros is, so there's Spain, old world Spain, the country. But as a North American, I'm very familiar with Spanish, and that could mean a lot. It could mean old world Spain, could be Latin America, which of course, when I say Latin America, I'm including South America, North America, the Caribbean, and it's interesting because I don't know, like, there are things in Spain that I expect to see in, say, Mexico or Venezuela, but I don't know where they originated. And so I did manage to ask a couple of people. There were 3 dishes, particularly, that I was interested in. Number one was the churro, because in North America, it's this, it's a cinnamon stick with sugar on it, and like obviously dough and all that, and usually comes with your pizza with a package of Nutella, right? I doubt that's authentic, but that's what I see, right? But turns out it's not. It's Spanish. Comes from Spain. The other one, chorizo. Anybody puts chorizo on a menu, I'm gravitated towards that. I always want to eat whatever it is with the chorizo. I love it. Again, thought it was, like I see it in tacos and that kind of thing. And thought it was, Latin American. Nope. Also Spanish. The third one was empanadas. They're those, basically what we'd call a meat pie, but better, much better. And I thought, they must be Spanish. Like, if I would have guessed out of the 3 of them, I would have guessed that one was the Spanish one. No, that one is a Latin American invention. And around here, if you want to get the good kind, you get the Argentinian. I don't know what that means though. Maybe I'll find out if I can. But there is an Argentinian place around the corner, which has kind of saved me because I've been able to at least feed myself like an emergency meal. I can go and get empanadas from that place, and they're quite good. But yeah, very, very interesting. So, and the other thing is the couple of people that I asked about this, like, you know, who does what and all that, is chorizo from Spain? Are churros from Spain? The thing is, when I asked a couple of other things too, they're like, yeah, you know, that's from Spain, you know, whatever. But when I brought up the churros, they were like, that's definitely Spain. You know, they were very passionate about that. So I'm very, very happy, if nothing else, immersing in the culture, so I was able to have churros with that big, ridiculous cup of chocolate. It's so silly. And apparently you're supposed to like drink the rest of it. It's a bit too much for me. But, you know, it was good. It's really good. Fresh, made to order, on the spot. And yeah, very good. Second thing I did today to challenge myself was I decided, forget it. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get tapas. I was really excited about trying tapas. Only thing that's been stopping me is myself just, you know, being me, being a weirdo. And so I looked up best tapas, all that. I went to a couple of places, way too crowded. Of course, a couple of other places, they don't open until, you know, 8 o'clock. So it was hard to find a place that was open, that was gonna be good, that was gonna serve, you know, interesting tapas that I'd, you know, wanna try. I seem to have found the perfect spot because it was nice and quiet, Sunday night. People were over at the sports bar because apparently there's a football game going on. Not that football, but that's apparently coming up as well. But yeah, there was a game going on. So the secret was, you know, go to a place that doesn't have a TV. And I went and I ordered 3 things of various levels of bravery, I guess. But I wanted, ever since I've been here, I've been trying to try the patatas bravas. That is the meal. That is the, you know, Spanish tapas meal. And some places have really, really good ones. They're famous for it, but it's such a standard that I don't know what's gonna be good. Ultimately though, it doesn't really matter, right? As long as it's good. And the patatas bravas that I had today was good. So happy I tried that because it was savory and tasty, spicy. I mean, it wasn't like ridiculously spicy or anything like that, but for you know, Spanish standards, this is a spicy dish, and it was really good, really well made, and I'm happy I tried that. The second one was a little bit more brave. I got oxtail stew. Again, apparently quite a traditional meal that Spanish is known, or Spain is known for, and gotta try it. And just like when I learned on my ugly food tour, you know, very often it's all about the sauce to cover either the texture or the flavor. So it's not so shocking. And this was really good. It was really, really good. But as you eat it, you realize, like, very, very quickly, it's quite obvious that it's an oxtail. Like, it's not, that's not an expression, right? It's quite literally the tail of an ox, right? And I'm gonna get into this in another video, hopefully, because I'd like to research a little bit more. But what's really cool is the Spanish have a bit of a movement going on about basically why we should be eating all of these, scarier parts of the animals. And it boils down to the idea of, if you're going to eat meat and you're going to be okay with it, then you should be eating all of it. You should be using all of it. And that's why they've invented a lot of these dishes. I mean, there's an economic reason for some people and all that, but realistically, it's a great way to be a little bit more ethical as far as being a meat eater, at least a little bit, right? So I'd like to look into that a little bit more, but I'd also like to try some more of these scarier dishes for that reason. My third and final tapas was a cochinita pea bill taco. I know what you're saying. Tacos are not Spanish, not old world Spanish. They're definitely Latin American, right? And it's true. But the reason why I chose this in particular was it's pork-based, and it was originally invented in Mexico. But the thing is the way it's made is by using very sour or bitter citrus. But the citrus that they use around here is the Seville orange. And not just around here. It is the bitter orange. It is the oranges you see up in these trees. Because you're not supposed to eat them because they're very acidic and sour, and they're meant for marmalade. I talked about that in the other video. And the thing is, I didn't know this, but it's known as the Seville orange, very specifically because they just went with it around here, and they've planted so many trees. And again, I mentioned that whole connection with the UK and them selling the oranges to them to make marmalade and all that. And all of that's true, but some recipes need a bitter citrus as part of the, what it does is it breaks down the meat so that it's, so again, you're not using the quality cuts. The harder to chew stuff marinates in this bitter orange, and it breaks it down, makes it a lot easier to chew, and in fact makes it quite tender, but also adds that flavor. And when you spice it up with a bunch of other things, it's quite an interesting taste. And sure enough, I mentioned Spanish food doesn't tend to be spicy, or at least their idea of spicy isn't like what we call spicy back home. But this was spicy. And it was very, like, hit you in the face with the flavors and stuff, and very tender, fall off the bone. Although there wasn't, I guess, a bone in my taco, but really good. Oh man. So I capped that off with a nice a glass of wine. So that's 2 wines in as many days. That's got to be a record for me lately. And a nice, finished it all off with an espresso. And I'm a very, very happy person right now. I managed to try some dishes that I specifically wanted to try, and they were all really good. It was a great experience, and it really didn't cost me a lot of money. Ultimately, I walked away paying, what did I say, like $31 Canadian, like converted to Canadian dollars. So that's probably about like $20, or 20 euros rather, 20 American dollars, something along those lines. Like, for all that food, that's not a lot of money, you know. So of course I left a big enough tip because they were just so nice to me and everything was really good. So, you know, very happy. So, I mean, yeah, I didn't get to the museum. Yeah, I didn't get to do any of that type of culture, but I definitely got into the food today, and I'm very happy that I broke through that. And as uncomfortable as it might have been to be in a big, busy restaurant, in particular when you're trying to compete over to get the attention of the waiters, and you might not know what the menu says, but everybody was nice and friendly, and they were able to interpret the menu for me and guide me along the way. They tried talking me out of the ox tail, but I told them, no, I want to try it. So I'm very happy. I'm very glad that I'm doing this. And it's days like this that remind me why, because I want to see the world from a different perspective. And because food is, so much of the world and much of how we express ourselves. And it's so different around the planet and in different spots that it's important, and we all get excited about it. And I'm just really glad I had that really great experience. And remember this for a long time. My belly is happy. My feet are tired. So I should get to bed. I hope you guys are doing well. I certainly am doing well, obviously. And I'm just loving it here in Spain. I hope you're planning your adventures. If there's any way I could help you with some ideas or some tips, if there's anything you'd like me to cover, is there a dish that you might have known that's Spanish that I didn't try, that maybe I should? I'd love to hear from you. Comment, please. If not, a like would be fantastic. Subscribe would be even more fantastic. Because there'll be another video coming tomorrow, and you'll hear all about it if you subscribe. So with that, I will talk to you tomorrow in the next video, or hasta mañana. Good night, everyone.